Hello and welcome back to the channel. Brett with Brett Smashy here. Today we are going to be talking about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and we're going to be examining the Rotten Tomato reviews. But before we get into that, I wanted to thank today's newest subscribers: Golstra28, Christopher Markey, Travis Ross, Anthony DiRuggiero, William Jones, and Sam Waller 213. Thank you to all the latest subscribers, and thank you to all of my existing subscribers. You make the channel possible. But without further ado, let's get into today's story. So Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I was actually excited about this movie and have been for about the past couple of months. I will admit the trailer actually looked pretty good to me. But something changed about a couple of weeks ago, and it was really when this article came out of Bounding Into Comics, and we got to see these additional extra clips. And these things were terrible. But this is not about that. This video is not about these awful clips that made me doubt what we were going to see in Wakanda Forever. So let's see what the critics have to say about this film. Start off with Cheyenne Bunsey, a moving, if at times muddled, tribute that doesn't skimp on the storytelling. A solid 60%, and that's supposed to be a good review. Now, you might recall when I've talked about Rings of Power and the reviews for that in the past, and the Access Media talking about how wonderful it was. It was better than House of the Dragon, even. If you read the articles, they all had caveats then. It was like, oh, this is so amazing. Except there's a couple of things that aren't good. Like, one, it's really fucking boring. And two, the dialogue is absolutely terrible. The costumes suck. And, this reminds me a lot of these reviews of, it's a positive review, but not really. And that's their get out of jail free card. That's how they do this, this little subterfuge that they do where they make it sound like I'm going to give this a positive rating and this is a good movie to go. Well, except for these little things in it that actually kind of suck. And I said that all along. Remember, I said it was bad all along. Because honestly, the reviews are a little mixed on this. The shine is already starting to fade on Wakanda Forever. So let's read some more of these reviews. Let's see. Given how emotionally numbing much of the mulch stamped out by Marvel can be, and that's not a put down necessarily. Yeah, that's a put down. The film chimes in as a stylish, finely honed, touching entry into the MCU, which is otherwise cluttered with cartoony time killers. Okay, so sounds like this guy liked it, but he definitely doesn't like the MCU. 80%. The next one. From a top critic, Richard Brody, performances are slotted into the plot like puzzle pieces. The script is the main product, and it's engineered with the precision of a high-tech machine with all the artificial artistry to match. So I think he's just basically saying this is very formulaic, and he thought it was rotten. Another top critic, James Berardinelli, it's a frustrating example of how financial success, not creative impetus, drives the existence of sequels, and it illustrates how unwieldy, contradictory, and overstuffed the MCU has become. 50%. Wow, he really did not like it. Here's a positive one, which we're going to see is not 100% positive. Although Black Panther Wakanda Forever doesn't fully reach the lofty heights of its predecessor. So we're going to start off with, it's really not that great. It is easily one of the most watchable films that Marvel's made in recent years. It also serves as a deeply moving ode to the late Boseman. And that's kind of what I'm hearing. Like, everybody enjoys the portions of the movie that are kind of a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, which I think, there's an emotional catharsis there that is genuine. But at the same time, doesn't fully reach the lofty heights of its predecessor. It's just watchable Marvel, film, like anything else that they produced in the last few years. It's not exactly a ringing endorsement. Here's another one, Black Panther Wakanda. I mean, look in mind, this is always also confuses me about Rotten Tomatoes, where they give something a positive, like this is a positive review, and the score is 2 out of 4. I mean, if 50% is not a positive review, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is like interrupting that unmistakably joyous and sorrowful feeling at a wake with a live infomercial. Wow. That is pretty tough right there. This one seems pretty positive. While Black Panther Wakanda Forever has every excuse to be a messy and disappointing feature, the final result is shockingly focused with a natural thematic evolution from the first film being paired with a consistency not always seen within the MCU. How? Like, how is it consistent? I would almost beg to differ that this is not thematically consistent with the first film, but I think that may be a topic for a future video where we get into the depth of that, of how the themes that actually ran through the first one, which were really, why Wakanda was shielding itself from the outside world versus the themes that are in this one, which we're already getting the hints at about, how this is about the oppressors and the colonizers and stuff like that. And I didn't really get a lot of that from the first film. I'm not saying that there wasn't a bit of that, but it was more about they were trying to protect themselves at that point in time because they were so much more advanced than others that they weren't sure if it was appropriate for them to just pop up and start sharing this technology, because they knew other people would sort of demand that they share the technology, and they weren't sure the world was ready for this technology. Not that they were worried about being oppressed or worried about colonizers, which is what we're hearing now thematically. Wakanda Forever is far from a failure, except that where there should be excellence, there is a middling feeling of watching something spectacularly competent. Well, that's not a positive review. Again, you see the reviews that are positive, but these are not positive reviews. Coogler leaves it to the women of Wakanda, often the scene stealers of the original film, to take the lead in stitching the kingdom's wounds. I think that the moments that they had in the first film were really good, the way they did do some of the scene stealing, and I think, honestly, this is like Thor 4, right? Going from Thor Ragnarok to Thor Love and Thunder. What was good in a small amount, I think, is going to fall flat because there's way too much of it. Just my opinion from what I'm seeing, especially from what I saw from those little teaser scenes that were revealed just within the last couple of weeks. Another one, I don't think it's as strong as the first one, but it's really good, especially given everything they were juggling here. I mean, he's making up excuses for them. It's very weighty, very emotional, and there are moments that made me tear up. Again, some of this emotional catharsis, people are saying that's good. The rest of the film, maybe not so much. Coogler strikes an affecting balance between spectacle and elegy. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the hell elegy is, so let's look this up. A poem of serious reflection, typically a lament for the dead. Okay, so he's striking a balance between spectacle and basically, again, the tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Although it's marked step down from its game-changing predecessor. Okay, so right off the bat there, again, this one's a 70%, but they're telling you this is a step down from Black Panther. Make no mistake about it. Wakanda Forever is still a cut above the recent slate of superhero blockbusters, thanks to some tremendous performances and strong direction. Hey, so that one's kind of positive then. I mean, he's saying, look, it's no Black Panther, but it's still really good. So we'll see. My feeling, though, is that a lot of people are going to go see this movie, hands down, and I think a lot of people are going to come away maybe just having that, okay, I kind of enjoyed it, but I don't think there's going to be rewatchability with this film, and I don't think the word of mouth overall is going to be positive. That's just the sense I'm getting about this. I could be completely wrong, but that's the sense I'm getting. Another top critic here, it's both a tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman and a problem for the movie that Black Panther Wakanda Forever feels his loss so keenly. Yeah, it's almost that's the focus of the movie, and maybe that's the only good part of the movie. And I think that's what he's getting at there. A.O. Scott, a Marvel movie for sure. Wow, that was it's a movie. That's what that was right there. Wow, I mean, that's a hell of a way to start the review. A pretty interesting one. Not a good one. He didn't say, notice he didn't say good. He said interesting. Vivid emotions and allegorical implications. Ah, there we go. Yeah, so it's the allegory. Some of the allegory that I think is maybe going to be too much in the face, which is what some people are maybe not going to enjoy about that. Well, I mean, enough with these positive reviews that aren't positive. Let's just go read the reviews that people like just flat out didn't like it. Top critics. Regrettably, Black Panther Wakanda Forever tries to do so many things that it comes across as threadbare and pallid. Less a failure of imagination, more of circumstance, time, and narrative constraints. You know, you're making excuses there. It's not anything to do with circumstance, time, like what? The timing of the release, what is she talking about there? And then narrative constraints. I mean, again, if you're saying that this was too much to tackle within this movie, that maybe it should have been broken up, or maybe maybe the editing should have been more concise. Maybe there was, things that should have been left in the movie and emotional moments to allow them to hit. And then after that, we needed to put them away and move on. And then, try and get the rest of the runtime for the actual movie and for the enjoyment of people. People need the emotional release, and you need enough time for those moments to hit. And then the movie needs to move on. Mercurial sequel that can't match its predecessor. Okay. Black Panther Wakanda Forever might have its heart in the right place, but it is in the wrong mindset, in the worst place, and in the worst space, at the center of a contrived cinematic universe to mourn on its own terms. Brian Lloyd, yes, it's trying to process loss and grief, but is a Marvel blockbuster really going to be able to grapple with it effectively? It sounds like it did not. Still need a little bit of that emotion to hit. You need that time to process things, but you can't allow things to drag out too long, because of course the movie's 4 hours then, right? And called Zack Snyder's Justice League. Wakanda Forever winds up feeling hopelessly stalled, covering up an inability to move on by resorting to repetitive, overfamiliar action sequences, maudlin emotional beats, and an uninvolving, occasionally incoherent story. Wow. Okay, so that's kind of the stuff that I was just talking about. Inability to move on, right? It makes the film feel like it's stalled out. So that's the problem, right? At the end of the day, I think this film is going to, like I said, make money. How much money, and will it make a profit? I don't know, but will it? We will see how that turns out. Will it definitely draw people this weekend? Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the #1 movie this weekend. People are going to go see it. And I think that we're going to see, at the end of the day, we're going to see the reviews from the audience be quite different from the reviews of the critics. Because if some of the critics are admitting to all of these problems with the film, well, I just think that the actual fans are going to be much less forgiving. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Black Panther? Are you excited to see it? Do you think it's going to be a good movie, or are you having the concerns that I am now having, given some of the recent scenes that have come out, and given some of these recent reviews and some of the other stuff that's coming out, a little bit of the woke stuff that's starting to seep out there, the woke messaging for the film that's starting to come out, talking about colonizers and stupid shit like that. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, if you want to continue to support the channel, then please click the like, share, and subscribe buttons. We're currently pushing for 1,000 subscribers, and we have crossed the 700 subscriber mark. We're now pushing for 800. If you're enjoying the content, please do subscribe, as it helps. In addition, you can support the channel through the Patreon link in the description below. But that is not all. I will have more Black Panther Wakanda Forever coverage coming out, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.